What's up, YouTube? I am back. This is an update of the firmware for my Workbench controller that I'm in the process of making. From the last video, the only update is strictly code, except for this. It's just a quick a quick representation of my two solid-state relays, which I did actually get in the mail. It's these guys. So I'm gonna have they're 40 amp up to 380 volt, but I'm just gonna do obviously 120 volts. I think the soldering iron's like 6 amps and my rework station might be like 10 or 12, I don't know. Actually, I don't think it's even 12, but either way, two of those are being represented by these lights. If it lights up, it's on. This cable that I made right here is going to go to the actual box and control it, and in its place, obviously, instead of the LED, I'll be driving the low side of the solid-state relay. But I don't have that built yet, so in the meantime I just have two LEDs. And yes, I know I don't have current limiting resistors, but I have an entire drawer full of the stupid LEDs, so if they burn out because I'm giving them too much current, oh well, not going to lose any sleep over it. The first major change I made that you will probably notice is that instead of words, I have symbols over here. So I used, I made some custom characters. This one was the toughest, and I'm pretty proud of it. If you know anything about electronics, you know that's the symbol for LED. So it's a diode symbol with two little arrows pointing off it, representing light, photons of light. So that is my light setting, which is at 100% right now. That one is not as good. I'm not as proud of that one. That's basically the fan. Actually, I got an idea how to make it better, possibly, but no, then it'll look like a swastika. Don't want to do that. So anyways, that's supposed to represent a fan, and then next with some air blowing. So I showed my wife, and she was able to guess what it was first try, so I think it's good enough anyways. That's fan speed, and then those are obviously the symbol for like a little power cable plug. So that's power 1 and that's power 2, and the top one will be my soldering iron, and the second one will be my hot air rework station. And that kind of cleared up the clutter to me anyways compared to my last one, because you know the different columns weren't lining up because the words were different lengths in each row, and I think this looks a lot cleaner. Over here is where the time is. It used to be at the bottom, now it's up at the top. For anyone tuning in who has not seen in my previous videos about this project, I'll give you a super quick overview. This is my workbench, kind of, yeah. And my lighting was crap. In fact, I'll turn the lighting off and show you. These are the conditions I was working in. You couldn't see crap, and it sucked. And I literally dealt with this for years. So I got some under cabinet lights down there. There's 12 of them total, and I have them basically, it's an array of them, 4 strings of 3 bars. So anyways, I have this IR remote that I'm using, and these are going to be my submenus. So A is my lighting, so if I hit that, it goes to the lights menu, and then up or down goes full bright or off, and then left or right goes up by 5% increments. So as you can see, it's getting brighter or darker, but if you hit up, it goes all the way up or all the way down. That's what the up and down are for. Or if you want to adjust by 5% increments, not intervals, increments, you hit left or right. So anyways, that's what the lighting menu is for, and I don't know if you can tell, I actually took the time to make it fade between each setting. Even that 5%, it doesn't jump to it, it actually fades to it, so I don't know if you can tell in the video. If you hit B, that's a fan section. So I have an instrument rack. Instruments obviously put out heat, and I don't know if you've ever felt the temperature inside of your entertainment center where you keep your DVR, but heat needs to get out or things will cook. So instruments obviously aren't cheap, and I need to get them cool, so that's what the fan menu is for. So if I set to silent, the fans turn to their absolute lowest setting, which is barely audible at all. If you hear any noise, it's probably the fan in my Rigol bench power supply. It's actually annoyingly loud, and I might replace it. That'll be another project for another day. And then C is my new menu, and this will be new to anyone who's seen any of my other videos because I just added this earlier. This is my new menu for controlling the outlets. So I have hot air rework station, and then my soldering iron. And anything hot obviously is a fire risk if you leave it on too long, kind of like with girls, you know, flat irons. So I'm going to have this control the timers. Well, I'm going to have timers control the outlets that they plug into. So I got a bunch of these. I'm just going to use 2 of them, 1 for each outlet. And then I'm going to use solid state relay to basically switch the hot side on or off. So whenever the timer is done, the outlet turns off, and so does whatever's plugged into it, which in this case will be a soldering iron or rework station. So I have these representing both outlets. So when this turns on, it would basically be, it's representing the solid state relay turning on, which would be turning on the soldering iron plugged into it. So watch, I'll hit C to go to the power menu, and then as you can see, you just hit up or down to select the item, and then whenever you're on the one you want, you hit left or right to adjust the time. So if I want to turn my iron on for 1 minute, I get it set to 1 minute, and then you push the center button. So now you can see it's counting down from 1 minute for power 1, and this one is representing the solid state relay for the power 1, which would be what my soldering iron would be plugged into. So the soldering iron would now have power once this project's done. So I guess I could back out so you can see it happen in real time. If I go in here and then set this one to say 7 minutes, and then you hit OK, you saw the other light turn on, and then now that timer's set. And as you can see, they're independent of each other, so you can set them to whatever the heck you want. And then we have 20 seconds before you can see the demonstration of it turning off. So really quickly, on all the other screens, if you hit the center button, it just goes back to the main menu. On this screen, if you obviously have the cursor on one of those 2 things and you hit the button, it obviously will turn that outlet on. So that's why I have the back option. But watch, here we go, 3, 2, 1, 0, boom. That turned off. So yeah, so if you're on the fan screen and then you hit the center button, it doesn't do anything except send you to the main screen again. Same with the fan screen. But the power screen, if you were, say, on this and then hit the center button, it actually turns the outlet on and starts the timer. So for this screen, I actually have a back option that you have to go down and select to go back. It does actually time out after 10 seconds. I don't know if I covered this in the last video. I don't think I did. I had my wife test it. I just said, hey, pretend, you know, there's no instructions, you need to figure this out. Here's the remote. Let me know what you think. She said that on these screens, I originally had it set to 5 seconds. She said it wasn't long enough. She'd hesitate for a second, and then it would go back to the main screen. So I agreed with her, and I changed it to 10 seconds, which I think is almost too long in some cases, and that's why for people like her, she doesn't have to worry about it changing too quickly. But for people who, you know, I mean, me, once I've used this every day, actually even now I already know the menus really well, so I would just go in here, change my brightness, we'll go to max, and then hit the center button to go back, so you don't have to wait the full 10 seconds for the timeout. So that's just one of those user-friendly kind of deals that I coded into here. Just to prove that this works also, we can set it to 2 minutes and maybe it'll turn off while we're talking about something else. Oh, another thing, let's turn this one back on. Oh, man, I have too many things to say. While the controller is on, it'll remember these. So obviously this is still set to 1 minute from earlier. So if you hit C and then you hit OK, boom, it goes back to that 1 minute. So let's say I set it to 5 minutes, I solder at noon, and then tonight I come back and I want to solder something again. I hit C, and then it'll remember the time I used earlier, which, I mean, obviously I think if I set it to about 5 minutes or 10 minutes, that'd probably be what I would typically set it to, so it'll remember. It doesn't write to EEPROM or to an SD card or anything, so there's no, it's all volatile memory. So if you actually cut the power to this, like if the power in my house went out, it would not remember the settings. So I'd come into here and those would both be set to off. So anyways, if the power is on. If you want to turn it off early, you go back into the screen and then you just set this down to off. And then hit OK, and then now it's off. And as you can see, the light turned off. Another thing, Sony and a bunch of companies who suck at making user interfaces need to take note. There's just some simple things like this that they need to do. See, I'm at the top. If you hit up in a menu, a shitty user interface, you would hit up and nothing would happen. In my case, if you hit up, it loops back down to the bottom. Or if you hit down and you're at the bottom option, it loops back. So it's such, I mean, it just takes like a couple little lines of code. Literally, I think including the braces, it's like 12 lines of code to make this work. And if you really wanted to shorten your code, you could do it in, you know, probably like 2 or 3 lines of code. But, I mean, imagine having 40 things, 40 options in this menu. And then as you start at the top, and then you have to go to the bottom. With a shitty UI, you'd have to push the down button 40 times to get to the bottom. Oh, that one just turned off. But you know, with some smart design, instead of hitting down 40 times, you'd be able to hit up, loop down to the bottom, and then just go up 1 or 2 to whatever option that you need to select. And so, anyways, I tried to do a lot of that, make this intuitive and easy to use. So, I think that's it. Oh, there's one other thing I wanted to show you. There's no point in showing you current. If you want to see how much current this draws with the fans and the lights cranked or whatever, watch my previous video to this. I think it's part 2. This will be part 3. In the last video, I used some tissue paper, and then I held it up here to show, you know, it blowing in the wind to show you that, you know, air is being sucked in through these gaps whenever the fans are on. What I did, or what I'm gonna do, is use this to show you the exact wind speed. So it's on silent right now. Set it to off. So there's our control. Gotta have a control, right, for an experiment. Okay, so this is an anemometer. They're used for measuring wind speed. And Kestrel is basically the cream of the crop. I don't think you can get a better brand, honestly. I've looked, and I would have if the price would have been reasonable. But this is, from what I could find, the best brand you can get. And I didn't buy this just for this specific video. I actually bought it for a video I'm going to be doing in the near future, where I'm going to be testing a bunch of computer fans against each other. And I actually also bought a manometer to test static pressure. So I'll test static pressure and velocity, as well as volume, how much cubic feet per minute the fans move, to see if they actually get what the manufacturer specifications state they do. But anyways, I decided, hey, here's an easy and awesome use. So I have the unit set to miles per hour because, well, I'm located in the States, and that'd be what most of my viewers would probably be familiar with. I know you people across the pond will cringe at that, but fan is not on, so the blades are not spinning, and velocity is 0. Okay, now it's on silent. As you can see, just over 1 mile an hour. Now, medium's set pretty high. I actually never went back and tuned it. I had a bug in the code, and it wasn't actually ramping the fan speed up. Actually, it might have been a hardware problem, but the fan would turn on or off, but the different settings weren't working, and it was just on the lowest speed. And so I kept changing the medium speed higher because it didn't sound any different from silent. And so it's actually pretty high. So for the finished product, I'll actually probably end up turning that down. So you can probably hear that it's pretty loud. So on medium, we are looking at about 2.7 to 2.8 miles per hour. And see, I named it optimal. I need to make the different fan settings match in my main screen and the fan settings screen. Because here it's medium, and on the main screen it's optimal. So I will get that changed. That's kind of annoying and it bugs me. Now I'll set it to high. I'm telling you, I know you can't feel air through a video, but I can feel the air rushing by my hands. So 4.3 to 4.4 miles per hour. So that might not sound like a lot of wind, but 4.5 miles an hour for just air moving past my instruments to replace the air that's being pushed out the back, that's actually pretty significant. So it's really a testament to how powerful those freaking fans are. So anyways, I just got another use out of this thing before I even got to use it for what I bought it for. So anyways, that was just another way, a more elegant way than using toilet paper like I did in my last video to show you, hey look, the wind's actually moving, even though you can't see it. You can hear it, but you can't see it. But now you've got more scientific proof, I guess, than just toilet paper flapping in the wind. That's it though. I'm still debating on how I'm going to do the hardware for the outlets, because obviously I'm going to be switching these on and off with the solid state relays. But if you've ever plugged in 3-prong connectors, they fit pretty snug, and so what I build this into is going to have to be pretty tough. So I think sheet metal is probably out. I'm probably going to use wood, some really dense wood, to build these into. But you know, I don't want it to be huge or monstrous or ugly, so I'm not going to rush this, because obviously this connector is ready to go. All I have to do is run this into the box, so I can actually finish the rest of the project and get it mounted at the top of my workbench and get all the wires, like this stuff, tidied up, and that stuff, you know, hole drilled and run out the back. Get everything mounted and done, and then I can go actually finish this later, because I already have the wire done and then the code to support it completed. So that's probably what I'll end up doing, because I don't want to rush it. I want it to look nice, and I don't even know where I'm going to mount it. I'm probably going to mount it underneath the workbench back here. There you go. Everyone should get one of those, a fire extinguisher. But I'll probably mount it on the underneath side there, and then run the power for my soldering irons down and plug them into it. I think that's it. I'm at 18 minutes raw video uncut, so hopefully I can shorten this down a little bit. As usual, I like to blabber. If there's any more functionality, I'm going to add actually, let me show you. So I was curious, I copied and pasted the code into Notepad++ because it has line numbers, and check out how many lines of code that is. 957 lines of code for this firmware. Granted, that's high-level code using high-level libraries, and I'm sure if I rewrote the entire thing in assembly, it would be, you know, a fifth of this size and a lot faster, but for my purposes, this works fine, and I still have leftover memory. Not a lot, but it works. No point in going back and writing it in assembly, or the headache involved with doing that. I'm not that uber. So as you can see, I have maybe about 700 bytes left. So if 700 bytes is enough space, we'll find out the hard way probably. I think I'm going to do screensaver. I don't know if these get burned in or not. I just don't want to find out the hard way and then have to take my project apart to replace the LCD if I do end up getting burned in on the screen. So what I'm going to do is, after say 10 minutes, have the screen go blank, and then have the time move around the screen like every second or something like that. Don't know yet if that's how I'm going to do it, but I think that'd be a kind of a super simple way of doing it without eating a ton of extra memory. And then that might leave me with a little more memory to do something else. Another idea I had that I don't know if I'm going to do yet, but I was thinking from this screen, okay, one feature gave me an idea for another feature. A feature that I want to do is whenever the time gets down to 30 seconds, I was going to have the workbench lights flash as well as give out a beep, so I need to hook like a speaker up or a piezo element to give me a warning. So if I'm in the middle of soldering and it's about to shut off on me, it's kind of annoying to have to, you know, to worry about that. So 30 seconds should be enough time to pick this up and then reset it. So what I was going to do, whenever that warning happens, I was going to have the entire UI move over to the right one and then do a cursor type a deal, just like the power menu, have like a little asterisk to show you which item selected, you know. I was gonna do the same thing with the main menu. So have like a little pointer or something to the side, and then so I could come down to here, and then if this is selected, have the center button toggle the power. So if I hit OK, it bumps it back up to what I set the time to. So in this case, it'd be well, off. So you know, if I set this to 5 minutes, and then it gets down to 30 seconds and it beeps at me, I just move the cursor down here. Actually, I'd probably, when the beep happens, have it automatically move the cursor to this item. So all I have to do is pick the remote up and then just hit the center button, and then it would refresh it back up to the max 5 minutes that I originally started at. And that shouldn't take too many lines of code to do that. And also it'd be an easy way to move the cursor down to here and then push the button and then be able to just turn this off. Because right now to turn it off, you have to go to this screen, go up to that item, and then you have to turn it all the way down. So let's say we have this set to 30. See how long it's taking? If you had this set to 30, to turn it off, you'd have to go into this menu. You'd have to go into this menu and then wait till this goes all the way down to 0 to turn that outlet off. So now it's off, and it's not actually off yet. If I go down the back, it would still be. Actually, we'll do that. The timer's still going, so you actually have to select it and then hit OK. Now it's off, and now the light's off. I guess I never showed you that it turned on in the first place. If I didn't do that, let's do it now, with both of them in view. Power screen, 1 minute on, and then we'll turn the other one on. See, now they're on, and then we'll turn them off. So, yeah, I think it'd be a really good idea to be able to have a quick way to turn those off. And, man, I'm gonna run out of memory. I need to go through and clean my code up. I can probably free up some space. Have the power button just be a shut everything off. Shut the lights off, shut the outlets off, turn the fan off, set the workbench lights all the way off to 0 or whatever, like so. And then just have everything turn off, and then just have it show the time. And then if I hit the button, I could have them turn on to some default settings, user defaults, I guess. Don't know. That's assuming I have enough memory left for the code. Excuse me, enough memory in the code to be able to pull that off. Or memory in the Arduino, I guess. Sorry, I'm really stumbling on my words today. But if I make more changes, I guess you'll see part 4. If I decide this is good enough, then you'll see in the part 4 this will be mounted and all the wires will be hidden, and it'll be finished. But more than likely, I'm kind of perfectionist with stupid little things like this, so I'll probably actually end up freeing up some memory by tidying up the code a little bit, getting rid of redundancy and some slop, and working those features into it. So I guess look out for that video. But for this video, I've blabbered on long enough. That is the end of the update. See ya.